Pikmin 4 is easily the best looking game on the Nintendo Switch, and I'll fight anyone who says otherwise. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not much of a gamer. I enjoy watching and talking about games, but I can't sit down for a long period of time and just game. But I guess Pikmin 4 is built different, because I shit you not, last Friday as soon as I got off work, I locked myself in my room for 7 hours straight and was glued to my Nintendo Switch. But how come when it comes to Pikmin 4, I could just sit down and play for hours? With other games, I usually get tired after 2 hours tops, so what made Pikmin 4 special? It could be the strategic gameplay, or the adventurous missions, or my inherent need to collect any and everything available. But I think it comes down to one simple thing. As someone who works as a graphic designer, I've learned to appreciate games for their aesthetic, and Pikmin 4 is absolutely stunning. When I play Pikmin 4, I become so immersed in the world and escape reality. But why? As we all know, the Switch is severely underpowered, and it's resulted in many games looking like this. But this time, Nintendo was cooking. I don't know if it's because they used Unreal Engine or because the game was in development for 10 years, but Pikmin 4 is absolutely breathtaking. Look at the reflections, look at the animations, look at the shadows, look at the bench! Everything in this game is so visually pleasing, and that's probably the reason I'm enjoying it so much. In this video, I'm going to talk about the holy trinity of a game's aesthetics: environment, animation, and color palette. I would touch upon audio design, but I think that alone deserves its own video. Now, brief disclaimer, I'm not some game critic. I haven't studied any of this. I'm just your everyday gamer who knows how to appreciate art when he sees it. This game just feels so alive. Each environment was made to be more than just a video game level. They all feel like they could actually exist in the real world. The environment interacts with the player in many ways, one being when you run past a group of plants, leaves, or grass, they move along with your wind. In the air, there's always these small little particles flying around. The blossoming Arcadia has pink leaves floating down. Small things like these give the world a much more fantasy vibe. Some may think it's distracting, but I think this subtle environmental feature adds a certain elegance to the map. The sun shines through the windows in the hero's hideaway, producing a soft god ray, and the shadows adapt to each environment's lighting style very well. The light reflects off every object it should, and the reflections in the water are just chef's kiss. The textures aren't no Spider-Man graphics, but they still look better than anything else on the Switch. It's a shame to see a game being held back by its hardware, but Miyamoto still managed to pull it off. I can only imagine what Pikmin 5 will look like. Ochi acts and moves like a real dog. The Pikmin along with Ochi have very lively idle animations. Like, look at this. He sneezes. That's gotta be the cutest idle animation I've seen in any game. Speaking of cute, check out this clip. Remember that someone programmed this into the game. Now I could talk all day about the adorable idle animations, but let's move on. This is a much smaller detail, but it still impresses me that the devs actually programmed this into the game. Ochi's eyes and facial expressions change. It's so subtle, but he looks at the captain with a happy look. When he's by an enemy, he gives him the dirtiest cut eye, and obviously when he's injured, he looks and acts sluggish. But enough about Ochi, what about the enemies? Now, to be honest, the enemies' animations aren't too special. None of them are bad per se, but none of them are groundbreaking either. But something they all do very well is suck. If we take a look at the Whip-Tongue Ballborb, when he lassos Pikmin in and swallows them, take a close look at its torso. As the Pikmin fall down his esophagus into his stomach, you'll see a gulping animation. And with a Bomb Rock, he does the same thing, but they made it genuinely look like something's exploding inside of him. And you can see the exact moment he realized that rock was a little too spicy. And many other enemies have great swallowing animations too. But that begs the question, who gives the best head? When an onion or Flaric onion fuses with the master, it drastically looks better than it ever did in Pikmin 3. Instead of just morphing together when the onions combine, it feels a lot plumper, but in a good way. After the Flaric gets absorbed, the onion's legs do a little bounce, and the onion itself looks like it's exploding from the inside out. When adding a new type to the master onion, the color completely changes and small particle effects float around it as it starts spinning. This small feature makes the onions feel like real-life living creatures, rather than a machine. I think another reason this game's so beautiful is because of the colors they use. Pikmin's always been a colorful game, but let's be honest, this isn't that vibrant. But even in the caves, Pikmin 4 still has a good selection of colors to make each level pop. Nighttime modes look gorgeous with the glow Pikmin. In a very dark environment, neon green Pikmin and luminos pop very well. The star bits are slightly pastel because they're glowing, yet still vibrant enough to stand out. The red eyes and outlines of the enemies also contrast the environment pretty well. Everything the devs want you to notice is distinctly colored in a certain tone for nighttime modes. But the daytime is where the colors really shine. I'm going to talk about the Blossoming Arcadia again because this map uses a very diverse palette. but it all meshes together so well. The most prominent color here is pink. The cherry blossom tree in the background and leaves falling down are the highlight of the map. A beautiful contrast to this pink is the baby blue elephant slide in the background. Pink and baby blue are both very playful colors, which is very fitting for a playground map. The sky is usually a soft indigo color, further enhancing this pink-blue palette. The occasional red, yellow, and blue tires adds a well-crafted personality into the map. It's just so colorful, but not too tacky at the same time. Although this map probably features every single color in the rainbow, it's done in a very classy way, where it never overcomplicates itself and feels messy. If you couldn't tell, I absolutely adore this area. But there's one more case where Pikmin makes a perfect use of its colors, and it's pretty obvious. We all know they come in different colors and have different powers, but the vibrancy of these little guys are crazy. When Pokemon switched from 2D sprites to 3D, a lot of their models looked washed and faded, but not Pikmin. Even in dark caves or a bright light, the colors of the Pikmin are still the first thing you see on the screen, as they should be. The warms are bold, the cools are strong, and even the shades are saturated somehow. Nintendo's picked some great colors for the Pikmin, and the extra little bit of detail they put into their models for this game went a long way. Now, let's be honest. Pikmin's graphics will never be on the same level of games like No Man's Sky or Ghost of Tsushima, but that's okay. As stated before, the reason most Nintendo games look a lot worse than they should is due to the poor processing power of the Switch. Don't worry though, the next console should come out soon enough. But that brings us back to the age-old question, do graphics make the game? Looking at a purely visual standpoint, meaning we're not accounting for gameplay, story, replayability, etc. I don't think graphics matter at all. Take a game like Minecraft for example, the most popular game in the world. Even though it's still known to have bad graphics, players still find a certain beauty in the game. Obviously you can add shaders or a texture pack, but objectively, Minecraft's aesthetics is just a bunch of different colored cubes. So why is Minecraft of all games so visually pleasing? I think it comes down to one thing, aesthetic. There's so many games out there with objectively bad graphics that still get praised for their beauty. I believe the style of any piece of media is far more important than the graphics ever will be. Sure, Pikmin doesn't have state-of-the-art graphics, but its overall style and aesthetic makes it absolutely breathtaking. Even after going through development hell and launching on a severely underpowered system, I'll gladly give Miyamoto and his team the achievement of creating the most gorgeous looking game on the Switch. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some people may say this game is absolutely stunning, and others might say it looks like a hot pile of garbage. The wait for Pikmin 4 has been too long for us to bitch and complain over the smallest details. So call me stubborn, but I still stand by my point that Pikmin 4 is hands down the best looking game on the Switch. Thanks for watching.